Right.
Simon, I'm scared.
Why?
Suppose it doesn't work. Suppose it all goes wrong again. We might end up in goodness knows where or when.
Look, it won't go wrong this time because we want to get back to our own time phase.
But how do we know going back is going to stop Devereaux from building his new future?
It's the only thing we can do. If only we'd realised all along it's not Traynor who's the threat to the future, but Devereaux. He's responsible for the burn-up in 1990.
How?
Because the Devereaux we met in the icebox wasn't really a clone, only a projection of one.
What?
Are you coming, aren't you?
Come on, Liz, we must hurry.
If the Devereaux in the icebox isn't a clone, then what is he?
Please, Liz. All right, Devereaux as a clone is merely a projection of what he could become in the future.
But then how did it all start? The burn up in the jungle, the icebox, the room without windows?
He's just coming.
Simon, tell me.
Oh, come on, will you?
Oh! Well, at least we're on familiar ground.
Yes, no jungles or ice fields. Wish I knew the date.
Simon! Come on, a Traynor, how did you escape?
Oh, it's no good, Liz. We've come back to our own time.
Take them away.
Don't know. Our own daughter could be anywhere from here to eternity, and all you can say is I don't know where she is.
Frank, I don't know. I wish I did. I cared as much for Liz's safety as you do. I'm her mother, remember?
Oh, I'm sorry, darling. Well, of course you care for her. But we've got to find them. We've just got to find them. My own feeling is we should go direct to Colonel Murray.
Colonel Murray, Traynor's boss.
Well, if you can't go to Traynor or the police...
Sorry, what good can Colonel Murray do? I mean, what are you going to say to him? The two children have just disappeared into a different time phase. Oh, no, Frank. I mean, Liz and Simon live in a world that no one else would ever understand.
Look, when you were under the influence of hypnosis, you saw Liz and Simon in some kind of office. Now, what office?
I don't...
Now, come on, Jean, try to remember. What did it look like? Anything on the walls, the furniture, anything?
I can't. It's just no good. I
You
can't.
saw Liz and Simon standing in the middle of a room. And there was someone else in the room, sitting at the desk. A man.
Yes.
You didn't like him. You didn't trust him.
No.
Why? Come on, Jean, try to remember. Why didn't you trust him?
I don't know. How often do I have to tell you, Frank? I can't see Liz and Simon. I've tried. God alone knows how many times I've tried, but I just can't see them. Have you any idea what that's doing to me? It's just tearing me apart. Oh, Frank, I wish I could make you understand. This second sight, you know, they call it a gift. It's a torture. When I was in that sleep, it was different. It was like staring into a crystal ball. Everything was so clear. The moment I opened my eyes, it was as though a steel curtain had just been suddenly pulled down in front of me. I'm awake, and yet I can't see. Oh, Frank, I'm scared. I'm so scared. I don't think we're ever going to see Liz again.
Well?
Negative.
So I was right.
Dr. Fraser, we've got to put a stop to this. Surely you can see that now.
Look, if you're talking about the rejection symptoms...
I'm talking about this whole longevity program. HA57 just doesn't work.
Now, look here...
It doesn't work! And it never will until we test every particle of the formula.
What do you think we've been doing all these years?
We have no right to subject human life to a drug that hasn't been thoroughly proven on the laboratory bench. Somewhere along the line, this formula just doesn't balance. In my opinion, HA57 needs at least another 5 years of intensive research.
There comes a time when laboratory testing has to give way to practical application.
Even at the risk of human life.
Have you ever known a time when human life wasn't at risk in biological research? HA57 will one day prove itself the greatest lifesaver since the discovery of penicillin. We're on the verge of turning death into a thing of the past.
HA57 is having the reverse effect to that envisaged by Professor Devereaux. We're not halting senile decay, we're advancing it.
No drug is perfected in 5 minutes, Pittman. As a biologist, you should know that.
5 minutes? We're talking about 5 years. Devereaux first started these longevity tests 5 years ago, and this is as far as we've come.
Nurse, take the patient back to the ward, please.
Dr. Fraser, why do we want to extend life? Surely the one we've got is enough for any man. Why be afraid to die?
It's easy for you to say that, Pittman. At your age.
To you.
It's just as well. Sylvia.
What's going on there? Get this patient on oxygen as quickly as possible. Commander Traynor, can I see you for a moment, please?
Yes, Mr. Pittman, what is it?
The patients, our volunteers, are not responding to treatment. Unless we combat the rejection sickness, within the next 48 hours, they could all be dead.
Shall we discuss this later, Mr. Pittman?
Later!
You know, this is the same room we were in 5 years ago. Then it had windows. Perhaps that's how Traynor escaped.
Who cares? We're never going to get out of this place again anyway.
Which means that this is an outer wall. Now, I wonder what's on the other side of it.
Now that we're back in our own time phase, anything can happen to us. We're trapped.
Well, if you could just stop feeling sorry for yourself for a minute, we might find a way out of here.
I'm not feeling sorry for myself.
Oh, yes, you are. You're not a bad girl on the whole, but at times you're a drag. You seem to think that bursting into tears is a solution to everything.
Well, I'm very sorry, I'm sure. I hadn't realised it'd been such a hindrance. But don't forget it wasn't my idea to come back through the time barrier when we did.
That's the most extraordinary part of it all. We spent all that time in 1965, and yet the moment we stepped back through the time barrier, Traynor was waiting for us. In exactly the same place as we'd left him. Well, it was as though time had stood still.
A most interesting theory, young man. Perhaps you could explain it to me.
Why Traynor?
Well, Traynor works in Whitehall, doesn't he? And Simon went to his office.
Yes, but I don't see
Oh, it all
how
adds
that-
up, don't you see? If Traynor hadn't shown an interest in the time barrier, Liz and Simon would be here right now.
It wasn't Traynor I saw under hypnosis.
Even so, I still think Traynor is the clue. Ah, here we are. Ministry of Forward Development. Right, we're on our way.
Frank, just a minute. Frank, supposing we're wrong. Supposing Liz and Simon wanted to go back through the time barrier of their own free will.
Then they'd have been back here by now.
Not necessarily.
I'm not waiting any longer. This time I'll get them back for good. Hello? Ministry of Forward Development. I'd like to speak to Commander Traynor.
Time is our great enemy. We can neither stop it nor start it. But now, thanks to all our efforts, we can control it.
You'll never control the natural lifespan of a human being. Not your way.
My way.
HA57 is a killer, and you know it. It's going to take at least another 20 years to perfect it.
You think so? Well, you may be right. All the more reason why I would expect you to do your duty.
Duty?
Yes, you know the future. You've seen it. You could help us to advance our research by at least 20 years.
Oh, look, how many more times do I have to tell you? I never discovered the formula of the longevity drug. Well, the secret died with Devereaux in the icebox.
Why are you doing this to us, Commander? Why are you trying to keep us here against our will? After all we've done to help you.
Help me? You've never done anything but hinder me. You muddled in here.
We went back into the past to 1965. Devereaux was holding you prisoner. In this very room. You begged us to help you.
1965.
Why did you lie to us? You've been using this place for the cloning experiment. You never told us that.
1965.
Well, what happened in this room after we left you? Why did Devereaux try to silence you? Why were you given a year's leave of absence from your office?
That's enough.
HA57 doesn't work, Commander. All those patients downstairs. Old people disintegrating, dying.
Stop it!
But we saw them as they really are. As they really should be. Young people, Commander. Just 5 years ago, they were young, healthy people. Not much older than me and Liz. 5 years ago, Commander!
I don't give a damn where he is. I want to speak to Commander Traynor right away, or I go straight to the Minister himself. Hello? Hello? Oh, blast you.
What's happened?
Hung up on me.
Where is Traynor? Isn't he there?
Yes, he's there, all right. It's quite obvious he doesn't want to speak to me. Well, we'll soon see about that.
What are you going to do?
Well, if he won't come to me, I shall go to him.
Are you going to his office in Whitehall?
Yes, I am.
I'm coming with you.
Oh, no, darling, there's no point. I'll have a better chance of getting into the building if I go on my own.
Well, we'll see about that.
Oh, no, Jean, you've been through enough already.
If Traynor's involved in this, if he's responsible for Liz and Simon disappearing, then I want to know about it. Liz is my daughter too, Frank. Don't ever forget that.
He's mad, isn't he? Commander Traynor. He's stark raving mad.
No, Liz, I have a feeling it's something far more serious than that. Perhaps something we'd never realised before. When we told him about seeing him in 1965, he didn't seem to remember.
Or pretended not to.
No, he was definitely troubled by it. Now, why?
What I don't understand is why he should be so changed from what he was 5 years ago. What did they do to him? Surely he couldn't have forgotten.
How could you forget? This room was sleeping in this very bed. It just isn't possible. Unless...
Unless?
Liz, remember when we were in the icebox, what Dr. Bukov told us about the cloning process? A clone has one major deficiency. He can only remember what's happened to him since the cloning process. The previous memories of the real person are only partially transmitted.
Yes, I know. But what has that got to do with... Oh, no! Are you saying that Commander Traynor, the same man we met at St. Oswald's, the man that you and me and Mummy and Daddy have been talking to, is a...
The answer's been staring us in the face all the time, and we just couldn't see it.
But it's fantastic. He's so ordinary.
It could answer quite a lot of questions. Why he was away from his office in Whitehall for a year? Why he couldn't remember what happened to him? Here in this very room only 5 years ago? When he was still being subjected to the cloning process.
But I always thought Devereaux was the first clone, the only clone.
Devereaux tried to clone himself, but it didn't work. So he had to find a substitute to fulfill his ambitions for the future.
Then the Devereaux we met in the icebox, the one we thought was a clone...
Was a projection. He never was cloned. We might as well face it, Liz, we've been fooled. Commander Traynor is the clone.
Mr. Skinner, you can expect serious trouble breaking into a government building. No ID card. I mean, dash it all, we are top security, you know.
Where is Commander Traynor? Where are my daughter and Simon Randall?
Simon Randall? That name rings a bell. Oh, yes, of course, Eden Park Comprehensive. Right, lad.
Miss Stebbins!
Commander Traynor is not available and cannot be disturbed. He's still down at R1.
R1? What the hell's that?
That's something we don't talk about. Do we, Mr. Skinner? Frank! The devil? It's becoming like Piccadilly Circus in here.
Jean, what is it?
Frank, you were right. This is the room.
You mean this is the room you saw under hypnosis? The office?
Yes, I think so. Well, I'm not sure. It looks the same, but I'm not sure.
Would somebody mind telling me what this is all about?
Miss Stebbins, it is absolutely imperative that we talk with Commander Traynor at the first opportunity. Now, how do we get to this R1 place?
Impossible. No unauthorized personnel are allowed past the main gate.
Cut the red tape. My daughter's life is at stake. Now, how do we get there?
Now then, Mr. Pittman, what are these symptoms you're so disturbed about?
Well, the increase in both the pulse and the respiration rate.
Yes, what about it?
I'd like to take an every 4 hours instead of every 8 as from now.
What reason are we doing that?
Good to see similar symptoms developing more the patient so far.
What is it? Shh! Voices.
Inertia sickness. Increase the iron content 4 grams for the next 3 hours. No cause for alarm. She'll pull through.
Yes, but for how long?
Shall we answer that question when we have to, Mr. Pittman?
Surely this is proof enough that HA57 is a complete failure. We've got to cancel the rest of the longevity program before it's too late.
The longevity program continues as planned.
He's right. We've got to be careful. 60% of the other patients are showing identical symptoms.
We shall carry on until we find out where we went wrong.
But it could take another 5 or 10 years to perfect HA57. All these people could be dead by then. The whole cloning program might have to be abandoned.
The cloning program will succeed, Dr. Fraser. That I can promise you. HA57 is a drug of the future. Devereaux' future. But before we can make it work, we must open the minds of those who are unwilling to part with its secret.
You mean those 2 young people you brought back from the ministry field?
They are our key to the future.
You're going to subject those 2 children to hypnosis? No, Traynor, you can't. You know what happened when the government commission investigated us in 1965. It's forbidden to use human life in psychiatric research of this type.
The development of the technological master plan will succeed only through the efforts of scientific research, not government commissions. Prepare the patients for phase 3 hypnotherapy in half an hour from now.
Well? Simon, what did they say?
Only enough to tell me we're going to find a way out of this place. And pretty soon. Oh, it's so frustrating to think on the other side of this is freedom.
I'm beginning to wonder whether we'll ever breathe fresh air again.
Come on, darling, there's no point in stopping here. Traynor's the one we want. That research center must be around here somewhere. And so close to the old naval station.
They're out there, Frank, somewhere. I know they are. Liz and Simon
Now,
are
look,
out...
Jean, even if they are, we can't find them. Whatever lies the other side of that barrier is beyond our reach.
I want to go over there.
No, Jean, keep out of that field. The only way we'll find Liz and Simon now is through Traynor. He's the one we want.
Frank, I have to go.
You understand, don't you?
All right. But I'm coming with you.
No, on my own. It has to be on my own. Please?
Listen to me. You've got to go. Get out of here as quickly as you can. No, don't ask questions. Just go, for your own sake.
You want me to run away, is
For
that
your
it?
own sake, Pittman.
Is it his idea, Traynor?
Oh, it doesn't matter who.
Do I know more than I ought to? Am I likely to sabotage the commander's personal ambitions? Is that it? What is he, Dr. Fraser? What is Traynor?
He's a very sick man.
You mean a dangerous man? Well, what's pushing him? Why is he going on and on with this maniacal field of research?
Because he has to. He has no alternative. This is the way Devereaux wanted it.
Devereaux?
Charles Traynor's not the kind of man you may think he is. He exists on only half a brain.
What in thundering hell are you talking about?
He is only half the genius Devereaux intended him to be. The other half is the potential menace.
Are you trying to tell me that Traynor is some kind of schizophrenic? A split personality?
It's worse than that, Pittman. Believe me, it's much worse.
Thank goodness for that, and about time too.
What?
But you laughed again, even though it was at my expense.
Well, he looks so silly.
Ventilator's no good, I'm telling you. You wouldn't get a mouse through there, let alone us.
I feel so shut up in here. There's no air. Those walls could be 10 feet thick for all we know. Oh, Simon, are we ever going to get out of here again?
We've got to, if only to stop Traynor from creating his technological world of the future.
It's probably all over now. The jungle, Beth, just one huge cinder.
Don't ever forget, Liz, the future's only a projection. Look, it can't happen unless we let it.
In a funny sort of a way, I feel rather sorry for Commander Traynor. After what they've done to him, I mean, it must be lonely being the first of a new species.
It's far worse than that, going around with an incomplete brain.
Incomplete?
Devereaux made a clone of Traynor, but he died before he could finish his work. Traynor's mind must be split into two, neither side knowing what the other is doing, rather like a schizophrenic.
How horrible.
Well, it must be like living in sunshine on one side and darkness on the other. Well, have you ever tried to remember something and can't?
It's awful. I wish there was something we could do for him.
Well, Traynor's beyond help now. You can survive all right without an arm, a leg, or even an eye. But to try and live in a world you can't properly remember must be the worst punishment of all. And wherever Traynor is now, he's going through absolute hell.
What is it? Can you see something?
I'm not sure.
Is it Liz and Simon? Are they out there?
No, it's not Liz. It's Traynor.